today we're going to talk about Python dictionaries. Now, I'll just start talking. A dictionary in Python is a collection of key value pairs. What do I mean by key value pairs? Think of it like a real world dictionary where you search for words and their meanings, right? So if you find a word in a dictionary, for example, the word boy, you can think of the word boy as the key in a dictionary. And the meaning of the word boy is the value. That's all what a dictionary is, a collection of key value pairs. Now, you may not understand what I mean still up to this point. Some people may not. So, I'm going to show you the syntax of how to write a dictionary. So, I have a very simple setup here. I have a file main.py open inside a code, and I have navigated to the folder that I stored my file such that I can run it, using just like something like python main.py, and then I will run my file. All right, and then you can see in terminals here I just did a codex dash server, which means I've started the server and I can use it in a code. So very simple setup. Now let's get going. So here, to write a dictionary, all you have to do is just type this curly braces, and inside the curly braces, uh, some people may say this is a set. No, if you fill it with a key value pair things, then this is not a set anymore. It's a Python dictionary. All right. Okay. Now, after you type the curly braces, then you type the key. The key can be a string. It can also be an integer. It can also be a Boolean value, and it can also be a tuple. Okay, you can use a tuple as your key. Okay, so I'm gonna use a string. For example, you can say name. Okay, and then here is your key. Now, what makes it the key? You just type it on the left hand side, and then you type a colon, which means you're gonna specify a value to that key. Okay, now this value, as I told you, the string, the key can only be a string, boolean, or just something immutable, something that cannot be changed after defining it. But the value can be anything, really, almost anything, any data type, any data structure can be a Python dictionary value. Okay, so here's the key, and then we're going to type in the value here. So the value, I'm going to simply use a string also here. So you can use a string and say Alamin. So to write another key value pair, you just type a comma at the end of the first key value pair, and then type the second one. So you can say age. Okay, make this a string, and then type a colon, and then specify the age of the person. Okay, so I'm gonna say, I don't know how old I am. I'm 13. Okay, all right. So name Alamin, age 13. Great. So if you want, you can add other key value pairs, and keep going, like true, something like this, true, and then you say the value will be is online. That's the value. Okay. Okay, so to make this cleaner, we don't write dictionaries like this, really. So you come here and then do an enter. You indent this, okay, and then at the bottom right here, you just do an enter here too, to make this even more cleaner and more readable. Now you can see your dictionaries separated by commas. So you can also come and just indent this down, wrap this down, and true to this one, you can also make this wrap down. This is typically what you will normally see as a Python dictionary. You will see it all stacked like this instead of just horizontally aligned or something like that. That's the syntax of writing a Python dictionary. Now, this is not an interpreter. So if I want to use I'm gonna have to store it in a variable, okay? But if I were to use it directly in the interpreter, I can just copy this. Let's go into the interpreter. I'm gonna show you just, Control C. Okay, here in Tamworks we can make another session. Okay, I already have another session. So here I can just go, am I in Python? Let's do Python. Okay, I'm already inside the interpreter, so I can just do, let me do Control L to clear things up, and then I'm going to paste, this is my dictionary, so I can just do a slice operation directly on it, and it will print stuff. Okay, I want to get the name inside this dictionary, so all I can do is just type the key. The key is called name. Okay, name, and then if I do enter, it will print Alami because that's the name. Just like in real world dictionary, if you are looking for a word, you're typically looking for the meaning of the word. So the meaning of the word is tied to the word. Okay. So if you go looking for the word boy, it typically means you are looking for the meaning of the word boy, not just the word, because you have the word already. So I hope that makes sense. So that's how to do it inside an interpreter where you don't have to use a variable. But here we're gonna have to leverage variables because why not? They are awesome. They are fantastic. So I can just come here, okay, and say, I don't know, what do I call this? I'm gonna say person, okay, person. So and then you set it to a variable, and then your dictionary is now the person. Now this may confuse someone, so I will open this thing. If you tap on this arrow right here, it will close and wrap up things, because here's the start curly brace and the end curly brace, and a code is smart enough to know the start and the end. So this arrow represents something that things that are packed together. So if you tap on it, it will open, or you tap on it again, it will close up to the end of the packed things. So let's move forward. Okay, we can work with person and print stuff. Okay, so we can come here and we're gonna try to access the values inside here. So we'll say print because we are no longer inside a Python interpreter. So we can say print, and then the name of our dictionary, and then we do slice operation on that, and then what do you know? We print name. We specify what we want to print, which is a key. Okay, so here if I print this directly, it will come right at the edge of this thing, which is not something we want. So I'm gonna add some space. This is not necessary for you. This may not be what you will do, but for me, I want to see things clearly. Okay, I will add spaces right here, so it will come a little bit, you know, to the right instead of just sticking to the edge like these guys right here. All right, so right now that I have this all ready to go, I can just tap on this python main.py. That's the name of my file. I run it. There we go. I have alamin once again. So you can access any of these uh, keys. So here I can just go person, age. Now this age will obviously print 13. Okay, I did not run it. Okay, 13. Cool. Now we can also see true. Okay, you can just come here and do python at main.py and print the value true, which is online. I hope this is making sense up to this point. Now there's a tiny problem with this implementation, because right now if I try to print a key that is not inside this person dictionary, it will yell at me. For example, let's say print the person, the key 1. We see obviously we don't have a key code 1 here. There's no key called 1, so this will throw an error right away. Okay, my bad. Interestingly, we have a twist here because in programming in general, true and false are represented using 0 and 1. Okay, so anything 0 is false, and then anything 1 is true. So here that I say I want to print person of type 1, it checks and see there's no 1 there, but there's a true key. So it uses that true as the 1. Okay, this is what happened, and then it prints is online. This is amazing. I really love that. Really. This is a huge twist at the right moment. So we can also come here and say false if we want, and then give it some value. So if we come here and then here we want to say print person like with the key 0. Okay, if you print this one, it'll give us what? The value of this false, because true and false are represented like that. So this is really amazing. So let's get back to what we were talking about. So the implementation I'm using right now is gonna throw an error if you give it a value that does not exist. Right now I removed false. If I print a false value right now, we will see an error this time because there's no false here. You see what I'm talking about? So sometimes if you're using things like this in your program and there's an absence of value and you don't want it to crash when there's no value, you can handle this more properly and gracefully and just make it do nothing when there's no value. Okay, so there are methods, or yeah, I can call them methods that we use to make these things happen. Okay, so here there's a method called dot get. You can think of it like a string method, but this one is a dictionary method. Okay, so right after person you type dot, and then you go dot get what you wanted to get, then you type it inside parentheses, and you specify what you wanted to get for you. For example, you wanted to get the value of the key name. Okay, I'm going to show you. This will print the same result as we did with the slice operation thing. So you can come here and do python manage.py, and then you go enter it, it'll print the name, obviously. So what if the name does not exist? For example, you see names instead of name you type something like a typo, something like this, or anything that is not inside the dictionary. You type that, and then nothing will happen. It'll return none, which is kind of saying that there is no value like that. There's no value for what you are looking for. The key does not exist, so it doesn't have any value. That's what it's saying. None. Nothing will happen. And you can optionally give it something to return when there's no value for that key. For example, here you can just add a comma, and then you say, let me move this a little bit. Okay, and then you give it what to return if there's no value. So you can give it a string like this and say if there's nothing, say, so if you type python main.py, run the program again, it tells me nothing here. Great, right? All right, let's move forward. Now, Python dictionaries are mutable, which means you can add and remove things, not the way I did before, like not by deleting things like this. No, you can use methods to do things dynamically, because when you are programming things, you will not use you will not hard code things like this. You will be dynamically inserting things and doing stuff. So before we add anything inside our dictionary, let's see the dictionary values. Okay, let's print it out and see the key value pairs that are inside. I know they are right in front of us, but we can print it and see person, and we run our program. It'll give us the name, the key, and the values that are inside, or I know this is right at the edge of the thing, but you can see the name is the key, element, value, and so on. Okay, there we go. Now if we want to add things to it, all we gotta do is really come here. We can say person, and now we do our slice operation. This is normally what you will do, and then you type what you want to add. Let's say we want to add gender. Okay, so here we know that there is no gender inside our dictionary, inside the person dictionary. We don't have a gender. Okay, so you can just assign it to any value, to a value that you want. Okay, so I'm gonna say, just for simplicity, I'm gonna say M. I'm a guy. Yeah. So right after setting this, if I were to print my dictionary again, we will see we have gender M inside it added. Okay, now if we want to update this, all we have to do is just set it to new value. Okay, so we can either just directly do this and say person, gender. We can update anything. For example, we can update the age inside the dictionary. uh, We can say age, sorry, and then we set it to something like 55. Okay, from a 13-year-old to a 55-year-old. Yeah, very logical. Okay, so python main.py. If we do this, we're gonna see that now the age is 55. Okay, so now that we know how to update things, add things and update things in a Python dictionary, how about removing? Like if you want to remove, you cannot, forever keep adding things without removing. Sometimes you want to remove something, right? So if you want to remove something, it's really easy. We have a few methods that we use to do that. So for example, instead of the dot get method that we used earlier, there are a few things. Dot get is used to retrieve, right? So these ones are for deleting. So I'm gonna remove from here so that we can work with these dictionary methods for deleting stuff. From here, I can just type dot to use the methods, right? Dot notation is used when you want to invoke methods, right? So here, person dot pop. What do you know? Yeah, if you ever heard about dot pop, it simply removes something and returns something. So here, if you specify a key, let's say we want to remove age, so it will remove age and then returns its value. That's normally what it will do, but age will be gone. So here, if we print person, the dictionary will be printed without without age inside it. So we can go python main.py, and then what do you know? We see name and element. Now this is inside an editor. However, if we go back to our interpreter, we copy this. Okay, how do I copy things? Yeah, Control C. We can paste stuff here. Okay, we have a Python dictionary called. This is really messy, and I'm gonna do Control L to clear stuff up. If I paste it again, we see person returns. Person.pop removed age and returned 13, which is the value of the age, which is right here. So if we do person, it will print the dictionary, right? We see just one key value pair, which is name and the value of the name. So that's what I'm talking about. If you did it inside your A code environment, you may not see it returning anything, but in an interpreter it will, because it does. That's the default behavior of .pop. I mean, in many cases. So that's why it did not return anything, because it's inside a code editor here. Okay, so there's another method called .pop, but it's .pop item instead, and it's very similar. It removes stuff, but it doesn't take any parameter, so you wouldn't type anything inside here. You will just leave it empty because it's a method, and then it will remove the last item inserted. So here the last item inserted is the age. So if we do uh, our normal thing, we will see element, because we will see name element. Why? Because age is now no longer part of this. Because but let's say if I cut this line out and save the file and then rerun the program. Okay, rerun the program, we will see we have age. Okay, at least it's showing up here. So we have age, right? But if I bring that line back, we no longer have it. We will no longer have it because it's removed. uh, See, so what this is telling you is that Python interpreter is executing stuff line by line from top to bottom. So when we removed this line and it didn't find anything there, so our dictionary was still intact. But after bringing it back and rerun the program again, the interpreter reaches this line and then pop the last item, which is what we expected and what we wanted. So there's another method called delete, but Uh, you won't spell it full. You just do del. Okay, it's actually rather a function, not a method. So if we do delete person, what do you know? Well, we won't see anything in this list. Oh, sorry, not list, dictionary. You have no person dictionary, but print function returns this error because we have deleted it. If we delete it, we won't see anything. But let's say we don't want to delete it, the person. We want to delete the age inside here. I don't want to delete my name, so we'll do age every time. So if I type delete age, uh, it returns the name key with its value, because now it's not the whole dictionary we're deleting, it's part of it. It's the age key that is inside it. I hope this makes sense. Now I will clear up this stuff. Alright, so there are other methods, but I'm gonna just list them out. You can, feel free to experiment with them however you want. Okay, so there's this method that is called dot keys. What do you know? Who can guess what it does? It actually prints out all the keys in your dictionary. So easy as that. Dic keys, and then it listed them out. We have name and age. There we go, name and age. That's what we have. And there's, as you may have guessed already, there's also dot values. So what do you know? If we do values, person dot values, this will print out all the values in our dictionary, which we have element and 13, the age. Okay, and then we also have another method called dot items, which I don't think it's worth mentioning. It will return all the dictionary, which is the same as just printing person. Okay, so I won't type it. It's just person dot items, and then there's person dot copy. Now if you want to copy it, you won't do this in a print function. You want to do it in a variable. Okay, so you copy it inside another variable and then you would use it somewhere else while not actually modifying the original copy of your thing. This is really useful in many cases. Okay, and then there's also another one called dot update, which is like the extend method of lists, if you know about Python lists. So this kind of merges two dictionaries together. If you have two dictionaries, uh, why don't we just do it? Okay, let's do another dictionary. Okay, now we have another dictionary. So if we come here, I'm gonna okay, clear things up. So if I wanna merge these two together, I'm gonna just do animal inside the parameter of this update. Person dot update animal. It will return all the dictionaries combined together in one place. So actually, we should not print this. So what I'm gonna do now is just I'm gonna update the animal first. Sorry, the person dictionary first, and then I'm gonna print later on the animal. This should, display our dictionary. I should print not animal but person. I should print person instead of animal. Okay, we're dealing with persons, people here. Now we see name cat age 13. Why do we see this? Well, obviously, both these dictionaries have the same key, so the last one to come updates the first one in. Okay, so in other words, if we were to rename this to, pet, so it will add on to the old one instead of replacing the name. I'm glad these things happen, really. So we see name alamin because we don't have name in here anymore. We have pet, so it will add on to the thing instead of replacing the one already inside. So we have name alamin age 13 pet cat. I already have a cat. Really, I do. So this is going pretty well, pretty nice. Okay, so what about if you want to check for membership? Like we used to do it with lists. We talked about how to check for membership, where you can just use the in operator to check for the membership of something. This is similar here. You just have to type the name of the key you want us to. Okay, we want to print the key. Let's say we want to print the key name in person if there is, which will return a boolean value which will say true. It's right here. So because we have a name inside person, we have true, but we don't have a if we don't have a key specified, let's say num, you specify num and then you just print this, you will see false because there's no num inside our dictionary. So the one last thing that we're going to discuss right now is called dictionary nesting. Nesting one dictionary or even more dictionaries inside another dictionary to represent a very complex structure. Let's see that in action. So first of all, let's delete these guys. I'm gonna cut this person. And then instead of person, we will use something a little bit different. We'll say people because we want to represent uh, a little bit more complex data type right now. So dictionary nesting, type the dictionary, you do enter to kind of keep up with spaces and stuff. So inside this people, uh, we can say person. Okay, let's just uh, paste this guy person, and then we can say person one. Okay, there we go. Now this dictionary is inside another dictionary, right? Instead of keeping this as a variable, no, we want to keep it as a key because, well, now it's inside a dictionary, so we want to type something like this. So now person one equals person one's value is a dictionary. You got it? And then this comma at the end is like this comma inside this thing. We can indent under it and then, you know, define person two if we want to. So we can say person two. It doesn't have to be person two. I'm just trying to be consistent. So I'm gonna do another dictionary, and then so we can say he also has a name. Of course he does. So name. Okay, and then here we can type another comma, and then under it we type another key value pair to represent any data on this person too. So I will leave it here, but you can add on top of this unless you are tired. This is absolutely up to you. You can nest another dictionary inside the person two or person one, and nest another one inside it, and nest another, great grandchild inside the, nested dictionary. It's totally doable, and you can go crazy, go insane, just try stuff up, crack something. Okay, but we're not gonna do that because the video is already very long right now. Let's just experiment with this and call it a day. So here, before working with the terminal, I can I can now print, if I want to print the name of person one, because we remember person one is inside the people dictionary, and person two also. Okay. So with a slice operation in a slightly different way, which is not quite any different, we can actually get whichever value we want from these nested person one, person two dictionaries. All right. So let's do print. If we want to print something from the inner dictionaries, you're gonna have to go through the first dictionary, which is what our first dictionary is people, right? All the other dictionaries are inside the people dictionary. So now that we know that, so we're gonna do what? We're gonna get the first key, which is, there's this key which is person one, and there's second key. Let me separate between them. There's second key which is person two. So you can get whichever, you know one you want. But I'm gonna go with person one. Person one. Now, if I print this, it'll just give me the whole dictionary. I want the name of person one. Okay, so I can add another set of squared brackets here and just, specify that I want name from person one. What do I want from person one? His name. So if I do this, it's gonna print out the name of person one. Let's do this. You see, we have Alamin. So this is quite how you can keep going. If you have more nested guys, more nested dictionaries, you can just kind of keep adding more squared brackets and specifying keys, and then you'll keep getting values on and on. Now if you want to do it for the second one, we can of course duplicate this, and it's also inside people, so we can just specify person two. We want to get his gender, not his name. So if we do this again, we'll have Alamin male. Now you can do something cool with these outputs. For example, let's keep these in a variable. For example, I can say name. Good. Now we are good. We can use these values wherever we want, right? So, but so I can print something like print, and then I'll say, let me add the usual space that I used to. Okay, and then I will say whatever this name is male, is the value of this gender. Okay, so it's pretty easy, right? Just we'll print name, then we add a comma, and then is a another comma, and then gender. That's all. So if you print this, we're gonna see that a full sentence, meaningful one. Alamin is a male. So I hope you get some value out of this video, and if you do, please do the usual things on YouTube and